Okay, we're going to look at solving two-step equations. We've got various different ways of doing this. I'm going to show you two different methods. The first thing we need to understand is that this equal sign actually is not telling us to do something, it's expressing that this side of the equation is equal to this side of the equation. So that means whatever operation we perform to one side of the equation, we have to perform to the other side of the equation to make sure that stays balanced. So we want to get the x, in this case, by itself. It's not always an x, but we want to get the letter by itself to find out the value of the letter, because that's what solving means. So what we need to do is first we like to, as we're working like proper mathematicians, we like to make sure the equal sign is in line. And then we need to think, okay, what do I need to do to the left-hand side of this equation to get the x by itself? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to subtract 3. So because if we subtract 3, this will make it 0. Okay, so we're going to subtract 3 from the left-hand side of the equation, and that will just leave us with 2x. Add 0, but we don't ever put add 0. On the other side, because it's that balance, we need to subtract 3 as well. Okay, so 13 take away 3, 2x we know is 10. And we need to remember that this 2x means 2 times by x. So then to do the inverse of that, we divide by 2, leaves us with x, and then have to divide by 2 on this side, which leaves us with 5. So we know that in this occasion, on this occasion, x equals 5. Now x doesn't always equal the same number, so you might have lots of different questions with x, but they'll equal different numbers. So we're going to look at this one. So again, working like mathematicians, we're going to make our equal sign in the in line. Okay, so we're wanting to get this x by itself. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to add 3 to both sides, because when we add 3 to negative 3, it makes 0. So we're going to add 3, which leaves us with 4x. And we're going to add 3 to this side, which leaves us with 16. And then we know that 4x means 4 multiplied by x. So we've got, I want to do the inverse. My pen is not working. My inverse, which is divide by 4, which leaves with x. Okay, and then we do the same to both sides. So we've got x equals 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 questions on, and I suggest that you pause this video and have a go at answering these questions, and then when you've answered them, press play again and I will model the answers for you. So 4 questions. Okay, so I'm hoping that you have answered these questions, and I'm going to go through them now. Okay, so we're going to want to subtract 3 from each side. So 4x, oh, I forgot my line for my equal sign, equals 15 take away 3 is 12. And then divide by 4. So we've got x equals, and then 12 divided by 4, x equals 3. I'm hoping we get these right. This next one then, okay, so equal sign in line, we're going to add 6. Okay, remember we need to add 6 to both sides, so 2y equals 6 add 6, which is 12, and then divide by 2, so y equals 6. Okay, looking at this one then, we need to add 7 to both sides. Okay, so 14y equals, and then we've got 21 add 7, which is 28. Then we need to divide by 14. So y equals 2. This last one here then, okay, so we need to make p by itself in this case. So we're going to subtract 10. So if we subtract 10, that makes 0. So subtracting 10, 3p. And then here we've got 1 take away 10. Okay, so we know that that's going to be a negative number. It's going to be below 0. So 1 take away 10, we've got negative 9. Okay, and then we're going to divide by 3 like we did before. So you've got p equals, now we've got negative 9 divided by 3. When you've got a negative number and you're dividing by a positive number, your answer is going to be negative. So p equals negative 3. Hoping we got all 4 of those correct. Okay, the second thing that I want to show you then, I said there was two things that we're going to have a look at today with solving equations, is this idea of solving equations when we've got letters on both sides. And I can't move my paper, 1 second. Okay, so we've got these questions here, put them into view, where we've got unknowns on both sides, and the difference between these is it's not as straightforward as just subtracting the constant and then finding the value of the letter. We've actually got letters on both sides, so there's an extra step that we need to do to be able to solve this. And actually it works either way you do it, but the easiest way is to either add or subtract the smallest value of x in this case. Okay, so we're going to look at this one again. We're going to put our equal signs in line. Okay, and we want to look at these values of x. So we've got 2x and we've got 3x, and we know that 3x, okay, is a greater value of x. So we're going to subtract, in this case, the smaller value of x. Okay, so we're going to subtract 2x from both sides, because that will make this to 0. So we've just got 4 left on this side. And then we're going to subtract 2x. So 3x take away 2x is just x. Then we've got -1. So we've then got an equation that we looked at in the first part of the video, where actually we've just got one unknown and we just need to solve that. So to get x by itself, we need to add 1 to both sides, because that'll make this 0. So -1 add 1 is 0, so we've got x. Okay, 4 add 1 is 5, so x equals 5. And it's important to note actually that it doesn't matter which side of your equation your letter is. So in this case it's x. It doesn't matter which side x is, because that equal sign means that actually though both those sides are equal, it doesn't matter which side it's on. So you don't need to swap it round for your answer. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So again, we've got our equal signs in line, and we're going to look at the coefficients of x. So that means the number that's attached to the x. And here we've got -2, and that's -2 is the coefficient of x. So we need to remember to include any signs in that. So we've got -2 lots of x and 4 lots of x. So we know that -2 lots of x is smaller than 4 lots of x. The coefficient is smaller. Okay, so we need to do the opposite, the inverse, okay, of taking away 2x. So we're going to add 2x to both sides. Okay, so leaves us with 10 equals, we're going to add 2x. So we've got 4x, add 2x, which is 6x, take away 10. Okay, now we've got an equation very similar again to that first part of the video. So we want to get this x by itself. So at the moment we've got subtract 10. So the opposite of that is add 10. So -10 add 10 is going to make that 0. So we've got 6x. Then we've got 10 add 10, which is 20. Okay, so here we can see that what we need to do now is we need to divide by 6. Okay, and actually what I've got here is I've got a number that's not going to be an integer answer. So 6 is not a factor of 20. Okay, or you can say that 20 is not a multiple of 6. And I've chosen this example because a lot of the times in these questions, the answers aren't integer answers. Now, sometimes they're very easy and they might be 0.5 or they might be 0.25, but actually 20 over 6 is not a nice fraction. It's going to be a recurring decimal. So what we need is to leave this as a fraction. And I jokingly say to my classes that fractions are numbers too, okay? But that is true, and actually a fraction is a valid answer for solving an equation. So I haven't written some questions for you to have a go at on this, but what I will do is in the comment section underneath, I'll put a link to a Corbett Maths worksheet, which you can go to and you can do some work on this. There'll also be solutions on there for you to mark your answers. Okay, see you soon.